you're pissed. A credit bureau or bank is reporting information on your credit report that doesn't belong there. You're ready to act. You want to sue. You want to make this right. In this video, we're covering the 4 things that you need before you file a lawsuit against a credit bureau or bank who's publishing lies about you on your credit report. This is Consumer Protection Attorney Bill Clanton. I've helped hundreds of consumers deal with credit reporting errors, bad background checks, debt collection harassment, and all other sorts of consumer-related matters. This video, like I said, we're covering the 4 things you need before you can file a lawsuit under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. All right, so if you made it this far, you probably have the first thing you need, an error on your credit report. Errors in your credit report can occur in several different ways. This is not this does not limit the ways. There are more ways that I'm about to discuss. But the number one way that information that does not belong to you gets on your credit report is identity theft. Identity theft is rampant. In 2020 and 2021, there were almost 6 million reports of identity theft, billions of dollars lost to identity thieves. Usually someone will open up a new account on your a new account in your name, in your identity. A lot of identity theft is on existing cards too. So if there are charges on your cards you don't recognize that are a result of identity theft, that's one of the more common ways of identity theft. Credit cards are not the only way that I've seen identity theft. I've seen cars purchased in other people's identity. I've even seen apartments leased in other people's identity. Identity theft can manifest in all kinds of different ways. It's a very common way of information that doesn't belong to you being on your credit report. Okay, the second way that's closely related and often mixed up with identity theft is mixed files. Okay, so the credit bureaus are essentially gigantic databases, giant, messy databases. They've been around since the 1960s. They've got old software, they've got some newer software, they've got a mishmash of software running these databases. And one of the things that this software has to do is match people. They get incomplete information from creditors, and they have to match it with files they have on people. The way they piece this together is not really well known, but we do know that they use your name, they use your date of birth, they use your address, and they use your social security number. Those are the most weighted factors in matching people to their files. It doesn't always work. Now, if there's a George Smith on Elm Street who was born on January 1, he might be mixed up with a George Smith who's born on January 1st in another town who lives on Elm Street. Twins are especially common for twins to get mixed up. Fathers and sons who are juniors and seniors or first, second, thirds, these generational designations as they call it, are often mixed up. They have a common name, they have a common address. Occasionally mothers and daughters have the same name. They get mixed up. I think I mentioned twins already are commonly mixed up. But it doesn't have to be any kind of relation. It can be the software makes a mistake, and there's 2 ways this can happen. The information on your report can flow out, or information from somebody else's report can flow into your credit report. You know, mix in or mix out. This is a very common error by the credit reporting industry. Okay. A few more. Reinsertions. If you dispute something and it gets taken off and then put back in, it's a reinsertion. You're supposed to get a letter before they reinsert it, and having incorrect information reinserted into your credit report is a credit reporting error. Deceased status. This is a lot more common than you might think. A bank or creditor, all they have to do is mix up a digit and it will report you as deceased. If they report you as deceased, then the credit bureaus will assume you're deceased. And then you go to get your credit report and oops, it says you're deceased. Or you go apply for credit and they tell you you're deceased. It doesn't make sense. You can't be deceased if you're applying for credit. So this is especially common. Um, Ownership disputes. Ownership disputes are when you don't own an account it is appearing on your credit report and doesn't belong there. These are very common. Bankruptcy status. Now, I've had cases where a person who's never filed bankruptcy is reported as having filed bankruptcy. If you are post bankruptcy, then your bankruptcy should your trade lines, your accounts that are included in bankruptcy should say included in bankruptcy or included in Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and the balance should report as zero. The payment history can still reflect negative payments or a failure to pay, but that payment history does not go away. After a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, there are all kinds of errors that can happen. Accounting departments fumble the people who get out of Chapter 13 bankruptcies on an incredible rate of error on that. So keep a close eye on your credit report post Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Similar to a false bankruptcy status is a false foreclosure status. If you sell your house on a short sale, often banks will report it as a foreclosure. This is incorrect and is very damaging. It can keep you from getting another mortgage or even keep you from getting a lease. Obsolete or misattributed public records. Public records can be on your credit report. A bankruptcy, an account that's closed can stay on your credit report for 7 years, but the fact that you filed bankruptcy can stay on your credit report for 10 years. If it's on longer than that, on your report longer than that, it shouldn't be. Other obsolete records that appear on your credit report are a violation or are considered an error. Double reporting and re-aging. Okay, so this happens when a credit card gets charged off and gets sold to a debt collector. The debt collector, if they report it as the date, if they do not report it from the date of first delinquency, the first time you fail to pay, then they are re-aging it. A lot of times let's say the card was charged off at January 1, 2020, a debt collector got it January 1, 2022, then it should expire in 2025. It cannot be re-aged from 2022 forward. It has to be aged from 2020 forward. Double reporting. Okay, same scenario. A credit card gets charged off, gets bought by a debt collector. The credit card company reports a balance and the debt collector reports a balance. That's double reporting. There are other ways this can appear, but if you have two negative balances, it is more detrimental to your credit report than just one. Okay, so those are the most common credit reporting errors. Like I said, there are others. But if you have a credit reporting error, that's step one, or the first thing you need to file a Fair Credit Reporting Act lawsuit. Okay. The second thing is disputes. You have to dispute the incorrect information. Okay, so the disputes, there are a number of ways to dispute. There's apps that allow you to dispute. There's a telephone dispute. There's a online dispute, and then the best one is the written letter dispute. The writing a letter allows you to give them as much information as you can. You can write a long narrative, you can write a short narrative, you can attach exhibits, you can attach copies of your credit report, you can attach copies of denial letters, you can attach your driver's license, utility bills, anything else you want to attach, you can include to the credit bureaus. We like to include previous disputes and the credit report with circled errors on it. You can also prove they received it by sending it certified mail. Sending a written dispute is the best way. And in limited circumstances, there's limited exceptions to this, but it's pretty much the only way that we advise people to dispute credit reporting errors. Okay. Now, once you dispute, the credit bureaus have, that's part two. Now, part three is once you have disputed, the credit bureaus have 30 days to get back to you. If you send them additional information during the 30 days, then they have 45 days to get back to you. Now, when they get your dispute, they have 5 days to send it to the furnisher. The furnisher has to get back to them, and then they report the results of their investigation and the furnisher's investigation. Those dispute results come back and fix the error, then you don't really have a case. The error's fixed, it's resolved. If they don't fix it, then that's the third thing you need, the dispute results that verify the inaccurate information as accurate. Okay. Now, when a credit bureau, now step 4, the fourth thing you need is a credit denial. When a credit bureau fails to fix incorrect information, then they are liable. That's the liability under that's the elements of a Fair Credit Reporting Act claim. But there's more. You have to have damages. And the way that courts and credit bureaus recognize damages is being turned down for credit because of inaccurate information after a dispute. So after you've found the error and you've disputed it and the results don't fix it, then if you apply for credit and get turned down, you have liability and now damages under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Now, people ask us, where should you apply for credit? Well, most people learn of an error on their credit report when they're initially turned down for credit. That's how they find there's an error, right? Like I started off, you're pissed. Somebody put inaccurate information on your credit report and you want to do something about it. So after you go through steps 1, 2, and 3, try step 4. Reapply for the credit that you applied for in the first place. And if you get turned down again, then you have damages under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. All right, if you need help with any of this, by the way, help with disputes, if you want us to look at your credit reports for an error, if you want us to look at dispute results for you, we're happy to do all that at no cost, and help you through the dispute process if you need it. Look, 40% of people give up disputing errors in their credit report. Don't do it. If you keep disputing it, it may get fixed. If it doesn't get fixed, you can sue the credit bureaus. So those are the 4 steps: error, dispute results, and credit denial. Thanks for watching this video. We're going to be making more videos to explain some of the concepts in this video, so keep your eyes out for those. Again, if you need any help, we're here for you. Thank you for watching.